It began on a quiet Sunday morning, sunlight filtering through sheer white curtains, a soft breeze carrying the scent of blooming jasmine. Ava stood in front of her wardrobe, barefoot, holding a cup of tea that had long gone cold. The closet was full, tops in every imaginable color, jeans that had outlived their trend cycle, dresses that whispered memories of once-loved moments. And yet, she felt empty. Not because she had nothing to wear, but because none of it felt right anymore. The world outside was changing. Wildfires, plastic-choked oceans, droughts where there once were rivers. Ava had always considered herself someone who cared. She recycled. She turned off lights. She read articles about sustainable living. But each time she opened her wardrobe, a silent question echoed in her mind. What cost did this beauty come at? Her fingers grazed a silky black top, one she'd worn to countless dinners and date nights. It had seen laughter, heartache, and that one unforgettable rooftop evening under fairy lights. But it wasn't made to last. The label inside said polyester, a whisper of oil, chemicals, and mass production. Suddenly, it felt less like a memory and more like a reminder. That morning, Ava made a quiet promise. Not a loud declaration, not a hashtag on social media, just a vow to herself. The next piece of clothing she wore would mean something. It would have a story. It would have soul. Her journey didn't begin in a sleek department store or a glossy boutique. It started in a local studio tucked away behind a plant shop on Maple Street. There, amidst hanging vines and racks of earth-toned garments, Ava met Lena. Lena wasn't like the designers Ava had imagined. Her hands were calloused from years of dyeing fabric with crushed flowers and brewed herbs. She wore a loose white top, uneven at the edges, stitched together from old cotton linens that had once been curtains in a coastal home. Her smile was warm, but her eyes carried a quiet fire, a passion that had survived rejection, fatigue, and the slow grind of building something real. This top, Lena said, noticing Ava's gaze, it's made from reclaimed hotel sheets. 100% cotton. We boiled them in turmeric water to get that soft ivory hue. Ava reached out, letting her fingers rest on the fabric. It wasn't polished. It wasn't perfect, but it felt honest. Most people don't know, Lena continued, that the fashion industry is the second largest polluter in the world. But clothes like this, recycled, upcycled, organically dyed, they don't leave scars on the earth. They tell a different kind of story. And so Ava listened, for hours, about how each top in the studio had once been something else, a tablecloth, a set of curtains, a forgotten dress. How black wasn't just black, but charcoal made from natural dyes, shadows crafted from burnt coconut shells or leftover coffee grounds. Khaki wasn't a trend. It was unbleached hemp, softened over time, and tinted with clay. Every piece had a past. And yet, in Ava's hands, each one felt like a new beginning. She chose a white top first. Lightweight, with sleeves that fluttered like leaves in the wind. There was something so gentle about it, like the calm after a storm. It was stitched using thread made from recycled plastic bottles, dyed in solar-powered vats that used less than a tenth of the water traditional factories wasted. As she tried it on, something inside her shifted. It wasn't about looking beautiful. It was about feeling whole. Weeks passed, and Ava returned again and again. A black top made from discarded factory fabric scraps became her staple for city nights. Soft, elegant, with tiny imperfections that made it human. A khaki wrap top, once part of an army surplus canvas tent, now dyed with tea leaves and fitted with coconut shell buttons, reminded her of resilience. And then the black maxi dress. Simple, flowing, made of organic bamboo cotton. Worn barefoot on the beach, it clung like a lullaby and danced with the wind. But what Ava didn't expect was how it made her feel. When she walked into rooms wearing these clothes, people noticed something had changed. They asked where she bought them, and she'd smile, not with pride, but with peace. Because for the first time, her clothing wasn't about trends or status. It was about care, about love, about healing the earth one thread at a time. At night, she'd sit by her window, watching the moonlight shimmer across the city skyline, her closet now holding only a few pieces. But each one carried weight, a purpose, a footprint that walked softer. Lena once told her, "Every time you choose slow fashion, you're casting a vote for clean air, for fresh water, for someone else's child to breathe easier." And Ava believed it. She learned that some brands now operate on zero-waste policies, where every fabric scrap is reused, every dye bath recycled. Factories powered by solar energy. Sewers paid fair wages. No more overflowing landfills. No more rivers dyed red or blue. She learned that upcycled doesn't mean second best. It means second life. That recycled doesn't mean used, it means saved. That organic isn't just a label, it's a promise to the soil, the farmers, the planet. And in all of this, she found a new kind of beauty. The seasons began to shift. Spring gave way to summer, and the world grew warmer. Not just in temperature, but in Ava's heart. She was no longer shopping, she was curating. Every piece she added to her wardrobe had meaning. She didn't chase discounts anymore. She chased stories. She didn't ask, "Is this cute?" She asked, "Is this kind?" One afternoon, while sipping iced tea on her rooftop, Ava unpacked a parcel she had ordered from a small artisan collective overseas. Inside lay a soft white top, handwoven from organic cotton, dyed using fallen marigold petals. Its scent was faint, sunshine and earth. The fabric wasn't uniform. Tiny specks danced across the threads, remnants of the plant's natural oils. As she held it to her chest, tears filled her eyes. She wasn't emotional because it was beautiful, though it was. She cried because someone, halfway across the world, had poured hours of love into it.
No machines. No chemicals.
Just hands, rhythm, and a promise to preserve something sacred. And the truth hit her like a wave. This was how clothing used to be. Before mass production, before fast fashion, before landfill mountains of polyester tops worn once and forgotten. There was once a time when garments were treasured, stitched by grandmothers, passed down like heirlooms, repaired with care, not replaced on a whim. It made her think of her own grandmother. Nanny used to tell her stories about how every new piece of clothing was a celebration. A new dress for Eid, a blouse for her engagement, a black shawl she wore every winter, heavy with the scent of jasmine oil and wood smoke. Ava remembered it now. The thick cotton, the hand-embroidered borders, the way it felt like home. Nanny had never thrown it away. Even when it tore, she mended it. That shawl still sat in Ava's trunk, quietly waiting to be worn again. And so, Ava made another promise, to bring back that spirit. Not just for herself, but for the women around her. She began hosting small gatherings, Sunday afternoon tea circles on her balcony. She laid out pieces from her new wardrobe. White tops made from old saris. Black tanks sewn from reclaimed silk remnants. Khaki shirts created from hemp, dyed with mud and riverstone. Each one was a conversation, a gentle challenge to think deeper. At first, her friends were hesitant. But is it fashionable? One asked. Will it last? Another wondered. Ava didn't argue. She simply asked them to try the clothes on. To feel the softness. To feel the weight, not of the fabric, but of the story it carried. And one by one they understood. They saw how the black maxi dress wasn't just evening wear, it was empowerment. Long, flowy, breathable, made from eucalyptus fiber and dyed in solar-powered vats. It swayed with each step, clinging where it should, free where it needed to be. It didn't shout for attention, but it demanded respect. One of Ava's friends, Mira, wore it to a poetry reading that month. She stood on stage, the dress catching the light in delicate waves. After her reading, a woman from the crowd approached her and whispered, "You look like freedom."